Hi, my name is Angelina Celestin, and my next question asks me, how did your production skills develop over the course of the project? For my magazine, I had to use an editing software called Photopea. To improve my skills in using Photopea, I utilized videos online on YouTube to assist me in certain tasks like editing an image by cropping or adding an effect like contrast. I'll also practice using Photopea on my own time, making my own graphic designs. For the first time in a long time or at all, I was thinking critically about the position of my subject as well as the lighting and overall environment when it came to taking photos. Because I was making a photography magazine, I knew I couldn't just take a picture of anything, or if I did take a picture of anything, it had to make sense and look good. And so not only did I take pictures, but I utilized editing features on Photopea such as the contrast feature in order to put out my desired professional looking result. For my camera, I learned valuable techniques such as the rule of thirds, where I learned how to conduct better composition of a subject or multiple subjects. I really worked to improve on my editing skills the most. The most challenging thing to do for me was to be able to make text appear behind an object in an image, and after experimenting with different features, I finally understood the art of layering on Photopea. And basically, how this works is that if you want your text to appear to look like it's behind an object in an image, you'd have to use the select feature to trace the object, and then after raterizing the text, you would select the text layer and begin erasing inside of that object, and then you'd be done. One of my biggest projects that tested my skills was editing my double page spread mockup, where I played around with geometric shapes and paid a lot of attention to visual hierarchy in whether shapes or text or images were too close or too far apart from each other, or too big or too small. Generally speaking, storytelling within a photography magazine deeply depends on which genre a magazine is. Depending on the genre, the register and structure of a magazine's story changes. So for a photography magazine, that would mean using more technical terms like exposure and desaturate, and using multiple paragraphs. While writing my double page spread story, I didn't want to sound like I didn't know what I was doing, and so I did research online on different editing strategies on capturing moody photography. I added a descriptive, imaginary introduction to help the idea of the topic of moody photography to settle into the reader. I made sure to structure my story by first talking about what to take a picture of, then how to set up your camera for a certain shot, and finally, how to edit the photo with a wrap up of everything at the very end. Each part of a story in a double page spread must be done with intention. Challenges and limitations. My first limitation was that I had a phone that didn't take great quality images, and so my images would come out looking like a colorful static, and my parents' phone was almost just as bad. My class did not have Photoshop, and so we ended up having to use Photopea instead. And while this restricted us in using certain features, it was still a very satisfactory tool as it resembled Photoshop extremely well, so it wasn't that big of a deal to me. My last limitation was my ability to go outside. I wasn't able to go out much due to certain circumstances, and so I didn't have much to take images of. I had to look around my home for the most stylish things to eventually put into my magazine.